Welcome back to James Lake Show, and today I have a very special guest. I have Flat Earth Dave on the show, and obviously anyone who's either looked into Flat Earth or I don't know, it's pretty out there. I've got 10, I asked ChatGPT, I said, give me 10 questions which would absolutely stump a flat earther. Stop them in their tracks, because I think it's such like a out there crazy idea. It shouldn't be too hard to stump him. And he doesn't even know what these questions are going to be. I'll tell you what they're going to be now, so you guys know. He is in the back now. We say, how does gravity and atmospheric pressure work on a flat Earth? How does the moon's shape and phases work on a flat Earth, which I do not think you're going to be able to explain. Why are flight paths different in the southern hemisphere? Impossible on the flat Earth. Why do we observe different constellations in different hemispheres? And why do objects that disappear bottom first over the horizon? Makes no sense. Why does the bottom go? It's because it's curved. How do time zones work on a flat Earth? Impossible, shouldn't work. GPS is impossible without satellites. And then number 2 is, well, I've actually counted backwards. Why can't you see every location on Earth from a high vantage point? Facts. And how do you explain the phenomenon of a circumpolar stars? In the northern hemisphere, stars rotate counterclockwise around Polaris, while in the southern hemisphere, they go clockwise around a different point. All right, well, let's bring him in. Hello, Dave. How you doing, brother?
Hey, James. I'm doing well, and this is a very interesting way you set up the show. I just heard the questions for the first time. You asked Chat GPT. You know what? I always thought it was Chat GBT. I just found out somebody corrected me yesterday. They were like, why are you saying B? Yeah, just yesterday. I mean, Chat GPT, whatever. But I want to dedicate this show. Very sad news. We lost one of our great flat earthers, Zulu One, last night. Mark, he passed away while live streaming Strange World. So this show is dedicated to him. I hope it goes well. I really do. And I'm dedicating it to my good friend, Mark. Very sad news for all of us. Not so sad for him, though, if you understand what this construct is. But it's sad for all of us. So,
well, I tell you, shout out to your friend, Mark, sadly. And may peace and blessings be upon him. And even though I might not agree with you in the flat Earth scenario, I know that we're eternal. So I know that he's in the next world. So.
We agree there. So those questions are going to be great. Can't wait.
Before I started, I just want to say, bro. Well, I'm looking forward for you to destroy them, because I think a couple of them are going to be pretty impossible to explain. But I do want to say this, bro. I watched the Alex Jones, you and Eddie Bravo podcast the 3rd time today with my friend, because I was like, the guy makes some points. And I have to say, I go, like or lump the guy's opinions, if you believe him or not. I was like, but you can learn a lot from you, because I've seen you insulted and trashed, and you always just keep your cool. And I said, if anything, I believe him just because he's the one not screaming his opinion. He's just keeping it eloquent, and he's going, this is this. And then you've got another Dave, the Globe Dave, and he was calling you like the artard and all this kind of crazy stuff. And I thought, this guy has no respect. And even if you told me you flew on a dragon, I try and listen to understand your point of view, because if I use my own biases, we're never going to come to truth.
Right. Well, let's just start it off on that dragon note. That's it. That's interesting. Looking out here on my app, I'm just going to type in dragon, and this is a 1946 dictionary where it's talking about winged serpent dragons, now rare. Wow. We'll just start with that, okay? So they want you to believe that the Chinese have 13 zodiacs with 12 real animals and 1 fictional animal. Doesn't make any sense, right?
So what do you think about dragons? You think they were around until recently?
Don't try to poison the well here, man. Okay? All right?
Okay. Let's start it nice and easy. How did you get into flat Earth? And,
I was dragged in kicking and screaming like everybody else. I refused to even watch a video because it's one step too far. And then I was forced to try to disprove it. And that's how you become a flat earther. Today is your last day of being a glober. Just letting you know ahead of time. Okay? right?
Well, I heard Eddie Bravo say in an interview, I think it was in the Alex Jones interview with you, he said, it takes 18 months. So if I've only just started in the last month, and where I'm at with it, bro, is I probably watched your videos about 2 years ago. I was at a restaurant with someone, and we were talking about the conspiracy that maybe politics was like a phony thing. And I was like, yeah, I think it could be. And he goes about the flat earth. And I actually got viscerally a little bit angry at the table. And then the next day, it was a colleague of mine. I apologized to him. I said, yo, bro, I was like, that's just so out there. I didn't mean to get annoyed. I should always be open to every opinion. And I actually went home and watched some of your arguments in that night. And I thought, the flat earthers have some points, but I still think it's crazy. And then about a month ago, I picked up listening to your videos again. I've listened to pretty much all of your debates, I think. And
you're a flat earther. You just aren't admitting it yet, but you'll admit it by the end of the show. So you ever try to take a ball away from a baby? Not fun, right? It doesn't usually work out well. Try taking it away from a big baby. Okay, it's even worse because they think they know everything and they know nothing. They know nothing. All right. So
okay, well, I got some great questions for you.
Let's go with your questions. I can't wait. This is exciting.
Okay, so each question has it's like a title for the question, and then it has a summary, and then if you could break down both parts. So number one.
Wait, before you start, all your listeners out there that think this is crazy, if you think it's crazy, that means you must think it's a globe. And if you think it's a globe and you truly believe it, then it should be easy to come up with at least one proof for that globe. And that one proof, I'm offering 3 Bitcoins. You know what a Bitcoin is, right? Each Bitcoin is worth 95,000 US dollars today. Okay? 3 Bitcoins for one globe proof. Right, I have a challenge. This is my app, the Flat Earth, Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app. Every day there's a featured video. Just watch the video every day for 2 weeks. After that, send me your globe proof. But you won't because the Earth is not a globe, and it's flat. So there you go.
3 Bitcoins to the person who can prove we're on a globe. Then all right,
one proof, just one single proof.
There you go, guys. Should be easy.
Yep.
How do you explain the phenomenon of circumpolar stars? In the northern hemisphere, stars rotate counterclockwise around Polaris, while in the southern hemisphere, they rotate clockwise around a different point. And on a flat Earth, how can opposite rational star patterns exist?
So that's a great question, and so I'm gonna kind of describe this. So imagine above you is the North Star, and you have a star field spinning above you. Okay.
Yep.
Right. And Actually, put that. It's hard to do from the north. So we'll say you have a spinning field with you, but the center point of that field is like 45 degrees off. So you're in the north, but you're looking north, and the stars are spinning from left to right. That's clockwise, right? They're going from my left shoulder to my right shoulder. So I'm looking north at the North Star, and they're spinning left to right. Okay.
Yep.
I turn around. They're still spinning the same direction, but they're coming right to left. That's counterclockwise.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Okay, that's one thing. Okay, let me show you something else. We don't know, and again, globers love looking up at the sky to see to claim the shape of the Earth. I think I have where's my star rotation? 24-hour sun. Where is it? And a couple guys have been doing some experiments. Basically, I don't have the video right here, but it's on my YouTube channel, DITRH. I think it's the last video, the newest video. Basically, he took a dome and he put northern stars circling in it, just a set of northern stars, everything in the north. Now, this is something that I buy into. I think there's just northern stars, and I think the southern stars are reflections of the northern stars. That's my opinion. I'm not speaking for anybody else. Okay? But he went in there with a camera and looked, and then you could see counter-rotating stars in 4 quadrants in the south. It's very interesting. Very, very, very interesting. On my app, if you go here, actually, I can show it. If you go to the frequently asked questions page and you go to the Southern Star rotation, right? I'll click Southern Star rotation. You get, you can see that, right? Hold on. Let me fix that. See that. Hold on. Let me fix that. Where is it? Well, actually, I'm just going to hit it like this. It's going to go back to portrait. So here it is. I'm just going to jump through this video. So here, it's a little hard to see. So here, there's a dome right here, big dome. And these are the northern stars. And as he goes in underneath, a little hard to see. That's a time lapse. Whoops. You can see these. It's kind of hard.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to see here.
It goes opposite.
You can see the opposite counter rotating in the south.
Yeah, it's strange.
And now listen again. We understanding the sky is tough because we can't go up there. You know, if you want to really look at the sky and say, "Oh, the Earth isn't flat because of the sky," you have to believe that there's gas balls of helium and hydrogen in a space vacuum that have gravity. Now think about that. Helium and hydrogen, how much gravity do they have? They defy gravity.
Yep.
Gas violently fills the available space. Always open up a pop can, instantly. It fills the available space, right?
Yep.
Gas in space somehow collapses and creates stars.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense to me. And bro,
let's just put that, listen, just keep score. Works on a flat Earth, works on a globe Earth, works on both, okay? That crap doesn't work anywhere, okay? The heliocentric model, our sun is a gas ball, 99% helium and hydrogen, that's holding on to Pluto, but doesn't pull on our moon.
Crazy.
Stupid.
I actually have a point for you, bro.
It's retarded is what it is.
Bro, I have a point for you, which you might actually use now. I've looked over. I haven't seen you mention this in one of your interviews, and I shouldn't even give you this because this propagates the flat Earth argument.
I'm telling you, you're a flat earther already.
But anyway, Polaris.
Go ahead.
Polaris means the gemstone pin that pins down God's Earth. And I heard someone saying, no, but Polaris wasn't always our North Star. We used to have a North Star called Alpha Draconis.
Or whatever. Yeah.
Thuban, which means AKA Alpha Draconis. And then you find out, what does Alpha Draconis mean? Alpha Draconis means head of the snake. So they're trying to say the old North Star, which we can never know because it was 13,000 years ago, we are supposed to believe was the head of the snake. That just sounds the old story of Adam and Eve again, taking us away from, so it was Polaris, which means gemstone of God that pins down his heavens. And they say, no, trust me, bro. It used to be head of the snake. Check that, bro. Alpha Draconis, definition, head of the serpent.
Right. And people say, Polaris, because as you get farther away, it goes lower down because you're going around the curve of a ball. Sure, that would work if you could live on a ball, but we can't. So here's Polaris directly above this person, right? And so he's 90 degrees off the flat ground. Can't have a freaking 90 degrees if the Earth is curved, but we'll just say it's flat where he is, right? And when he moves a little bit, it's now lower in the sky to him. So maybe it's 45 degrees. And he moves farther, maybe it's 25 degrees. It's getting lower and lower. And now this is an orthographic view. From his point, Polaris is getting lower like this. Yeah. Right? His perspective brings it down like that. All right?
Yeah, but it's not changing, right?
It's not changing. So wait, let me just show you on a globe. So here we are on a globe, right? And as you move, it gets lower. So sure, it works on a globe. But they just took this math and, they took the flat Earth math and made a globe out of it, right? So on a flat Earth, as you move away, you get the same angles.
Okay. I see it. I can buy it. I can see. I see the flat Earth side of things on this.
And it gets. And I was showing you an orthographic view. This is a personal view, and it gets lower and lower, and it goes into the horizon. We'll talk about the horizon in a little bit.
Okay.
All right?
Okay. Why can't you see every location on Earth from a high vantage point if the Earth is flat? I think this is a good one.
Yeah. So if you and I were standing in front of each other and I had a panel, a glass door, perfectly clean, the cleaning people were just here. They shined it up both sides. You can't even see the glass, right? We can see it. But if we put two panels of glass together, it obfuscates the light a little bit. If we put 100 panels of glass, we couldn't see each other, right? At some point, the light won't even go through all of that glass. The atmosphere is literally like glass. Over distance, it becomes opaque over distance. So I'm going to show you an example of that. Where is it? Okay. So here is, we're standing in Illusion, France on a small mountain, And out here is Mount Canigou, 175 miles away, and you can't see it. Because according to globe math, from this viewing spot, the top of Mount Canigou should be over half a mile below the curvature. So you can't see my mouth because it's below the curvature, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you can't see it. But the sun migrates between the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn every 6 months. Twice a year, it lines up with the viewer and the mountain. Now, you see the lights that's bouncing off of me right now. If I turned off all the lights in this room, you wouldn't see me, right? The lights in this room are brighter than the light that's bouncing off of me. So the light that's bouncing off of Canigou can't push through 175 miles, but the sun is the brightest thing we know. And the sun's light can, and when it goes beyond Mount Canigou, all of a sudden you can see it. The top of Mount Canigou should be over half a mile below the curve, according to globe math.
Wow, that's crazy. So you can see the whole of the mountain.
You can see now they'll say, oh, you can't see the bottom. The bottom's missing. Yes, the bottom's missing. And we will get into how the horizon, which is the horizontal eye zone, works. Okay, so there you go. Okay. There's your why you can't see.
Yourself, did you?
What's that?
You took this video yourself?
I did not, but lots of people can have. There's not millions, but there's thousands and thousands of these videos, and it is verified. And again, don't believe me. Go verify everything yourself. Right? Here's another one. This is just a where'd it go? It just jumped away. Oh, here it is. This is a spot, and we're looking out at these mountains. Here, they're a little hard to see, but they're all picked out. They're all in the right position. They're all in the right shapes. Over 700 miles away. There's over 50 miles of missing curvature.
Crazy, bro.
Those mountains should be over 50 miles below a physical curve, like my mouth was below the ball.
And what does someone who's arguing against you normally say in this situation? Because I'm not an expert in the globe theory either. I'm just interested in
they say refraction. They say it's refracting up. Okay, they say it's refracting up. This is in Malibu. There's 7,000 feet of curvature. This mountain's just over 7,000 feet. This is with an infrared lens. Take off the infrared lens, you've got blue sky. You can't see anything. Then you put, a blue hazy sky, right? But then here's the whole mountain. You should only be able to see the very tip right here. So let me show you what they say. So here is, they say refraction. That's their favorite word, refraction and gravity. Refraction and gravity.
What does refraction mean? It means
refraction means
the gravity holds it.
It means so here's the Earth curvature, and here's the sun, and it's below the Earth. So it's actually below the curve, but refraction will make you see it up here. It's really down here, but refraction starts with the same word that describes refraction. Okay, right? I won't say it, but if you look at my mug, you see that?
Okay. I hear it. Can I ask you though, is it possible that light could bend to gravity? Because I sent one of your clips into my group chat.
Listen, no, you can't say that. I'm not going to allow you to say that. All right. So check this out. So here is a lake. Now, large bodies of water need containment. Show me a body of water, a large body of water, bigger than a gallon, that doesn't need a container. Can you do that?
Yeah, I can show bathtub. Oh, like a
that's a container. What large body of water doesn't need a container?
No, all of them need a container.
All of them need a container. So large bodies of water at rest lie flat, testably, measurably, provably flat.
Yeah.
And when it gets cold, where are you? Sweden. You in Sweden? Where are you?
I'm in Netherlands right now.
It's cold. It gets cold there, right?
Yeah.
Water freezes. Yeah. And does the water freeze when you go ice skating ever?
I have done, yeah.
Yeah, does the lake have a curve to it, or it's flat? Okay, so here we are. We got a camera 6 inches off the ground. We guys put these lights out here at 8 miles, 7 miles, 6 miles, and 5 miles. Now that doesn't sound far because they say, "Oh, the Earth is so big." If you were a microbe on a basketball, the basketball would appear flat. I'm calling bullshit on that. All right, but at these distances, there should be 30 feet, 22 feet, 15, and 9 feet of curvature. Light should be 30 feet below the curve of that ball, 22, 15, and 9. right? So if we look at this little diagram here, here's the camera on a flat Earth. It sees all the lights right there. Yep. Here's the camera on a curved Earth. This light is bouncing up 30 feet or whatever the number was. This one is refracting up. They're all refracting up, and then magically they stop right at your tangent to the globe.
Yeah. This is, I said to my friends, I go, look, I believe in the globe, but
you believe. Believe has a big word, has the word lie in the middle, and belief is the lazy man's knowing, right?
And I said to them, is there any way that refraction could just be a way of them using, it basically covers what our eyes are telling us, that's at my eye level, but they say refraction. And I just know that this is actually what's brought me back to your videos, brother, is I know how many lies I've been told, and I'm like, is it possible that these are just ways of explaining the unexplainable? And really what's explainable is if there was no science data, me and you would both come to the same conclusion. And that's that we're on a flat plane.
If you were taught that the Earth is flat, not moving, and the stars spin around us, and then later in life, somebody came and tried to teach you that it's a spinning ball spiraling and vortexing through the universe, right? And you would say, "Get the F out of here! You are completely retarded, right?"
You're right. You are right, bro. You're right.
This is what we're taught. We're taught that that we orbit around the sun, but they don't teach us in school that the sun is also moving at 500,000 miles per hour. So we're spinning at 1,000 miles an hour. We don't feel it. That's a curved trajectory, not a straight line. We're orbiting at 66,600 miles an hour. Funny number. Curved trajectory, speeding up and down, speeding up and slowing down. We don't feel that. We're chasing the sun at 500,000 miles per hour. And a curved trajectory. We don't feel that. All of these motions are happening. We never return to the same place we were before. We're traveling 4.4 billion miles a year, every year for millions and millions and billions of years, but none of the stars ever change. You know what parallax is, right? Parallax is you got something close to you and something far away, and as we move, they change. What like the one closer to you moves faster. So stars should be crossing each other's paths all the time. Never once in history has a single star ever crossed another star's path. Interesting.
And that's facts. Is that facts?
That is a fact, right? That is a fact. Now, let me show you something else that's weird, right? What are in the heliocentric model, what are the planets orbiting around?
The sun.
The sun. Okay. Why is our North Star Polaris important to the other planets?
I don't know, just to us.
It's just to us because it's our axis. If you put a pole through our axis of rotation, it points towards a star. That star is insignificant to all of the other. It's just an insignificant star. And 2,000 years ago, because the Earth is wobbling, we were pointing towards a different star, as you pointed out earlier. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's take a look at this. So this is a non-scale model of the Earth and the solar system, right? And so here we go. And here's the Earth. And let's say Polaris is up here. So there's our axis of rotation, right?
Yep.
Now, do these all have the same axis of rotation? The answer is no. Right? This planet might go like that. This one might be pointing towards the sun. This one, points up there. So they all have their own north point in the sky.
Yep.
If planets are real. Okay. So let's go to this. Now, wrap your mind around this because they don't teach you to think like this in school. These are the paths of all the planets, and they all circle Polaris. The sun, the moon, the planets, Halley's Comet, and every other luminary circles Polaris.
Which would make it look like they're more local and we are the big foundation underneath Polaris.
Polaris is the center. They say Polaris is God's throne. I like that. Okay. All right. Polaris is the center. All of the planets do beautiful sacred geometry spirographs around Polaris. Right.
And this isn't NASA's version. This is facts. This is how they go around it.
This is facts of the movement of the planets in the skies. Right. NASA means to deceive. Just so you know, right? And then I want to bring up something else that you talked about the other. Do we have time to go over? We're going to go over an hour. You good?
Yeah. Take your time.
All right. So The Earth is moving, as I told you, 4.4 billion miles a year, right? 4.4 billion miles a year. Never to return to where it was before.
Yep.
All the other stars are moving in their motions, right? And they tell us that 80% of our stars are binary, which means they're also doing this with other stars, right? And our sun might be binary or trinary, which means there's three things going crazy, right? And they say, because Polaris is so far away, there is no parallax ever, right? It's like saying, you know, let's say you're looking at a building 20 miles away, right? And a billion miles is like the distance of the width of a hair, right? So there would be no parallax. This is what they're claiming, right?
So we're in relativity, almost stationary comparison.
However, they do tell us that the Earth is wobbling. Our pole is wobbling every 26,000 years. It moves 1 degree every 76 years. 1 degree every 76 years. A degree in the sky is the equivalent to 3 moon widths. So 3 moons side by side, that would be 1 degree in the sky. Right?
Okay.
So have you ever heard of the Georgia Guidestones here in America?
I've heard of them, but I don't know what they are or their function.
Oh, in 1981, they built this monument that has 10 commandments on it. One of them, never let the Earth's population rise to over 500 million again. Sounds pretty apocalyptic, but that's a whole nother show, right? But there was a little hole in the Guidestones, a little hole. And when you look through it, it pointed at Polaris all the time. It was always there. A little hole. Polaris is right there in the middle of the hole, right? That's crazy, right? So Polaris is in the hole. Well, guess what? It was built in 1981. It was up for over 40 years. That means Polaris should have moved over a half a degree. That's 1.5 moon widths, which would have put it well outside of that hole, but it was still there in the center of the hole.
No way. Still there. They taken that stone down.
So we started making videos of it, started going viral, and a terrorist blew it up out of nowhere. And within 3 hours, bulldozers were there, knocked the entire thing down, stole the time capsule that was underneath it, and there was no investigation.
What?
You know why? Because this is what we call rock solid proof, right? Rock solid proof, right?
Yeah, that makes sense, bro. I think what's crazy about this whole belief, if whatever is right, whatever is wrong, the fact is this: until the early 1900s, your way of thinking was the norm, but they've made it so that your way of thinking is like ridiculous. How could you even think that way? But in actuality, every civilizations which make buildings that we can't even copy, but they came up with this science. Are you saying they're stupid? Because our buildings don't even compare.
We can't even compare to what I believe were angelically built things. But, oops, that's what I want to show you. In 2020, I interviewed a woman named Ruth, who was 102 years old. And I was interviewing her about the world's fairs and about the old world. And she was so knowledgeable. She was so crisp and clear. And I said to her, what did they teach you in school about the Earth? That's all I said. She goes, they taught me the Earth was flat. This is in 1920s here in America in public schools. Then we found people 1930s, 1940s, 1950s in public school. They were teaching flat Earth and globe Earth because they didn't know. But they want us to believe Eratosthenes from 2,000 years ago with sticks and shadows in an impossible experiment. And, did this. Nonsense, right? You know the story of Eratosthenes, yes or no?
No.
Well, I guess they teach it in America here that a Greek guy figured out the shape of the Earth with some sticks and shadows. Basically, he saw the sun shining in the bottom of a well, which told him the sun is above him. That's good, right? And then he said, well, we know that the sun is infinitely far away. This is the story they tell us. And he sent his buddy 500 miles away and had him put up a stick at the same time. And there was a shadow on his stick, no shadow on his. Yeah. And he did a calculation. And they use that. They teach that in all the classes. Before
you explain that, bro, my friend sent that into the group. Carl Sagan showing the same thing. And I said, but what you're doing is you're essentially using the heliocentric model of the sun and you're mixing two theories because a flat earther believes the sun to be local, so that would still happen.
It would still happen. See, Carl Sagan on the show Cosmos, which is exactly what he sent you, said that this can only happen on a globe Earth, right? It can only happen, but that's not true. That's not true. They want you to believe that because first, Eratosthenes, back then, they thought the Earth was geocentric, that the sun went around the Earth. So how can you have an infinitely far sun circling a tiny little pebble Earth? Okay, that geocentric means you're the center and the sun goes around you. That doesn't work with a far sun, right? And then no one has ever seen straight rays. We always see rays come in like this, crepuscular.
I saw that the other day, bro. I put it on my story. I go, this makes no sense because if it's 148 million miles away, this should be parallel.
Right. And so on a flat Earth, small local sun, there's no shadow on that stick, and there's a shadow on the farther one, right? So on a globe Earth with straight rays, sure, it works. On a flat Earth with a local sun, you get the same angle. You could use the same math to figure out the sphericity of this flat surface, right? You have to assume a globe, right? Do this yourself. Put two beer bottles on the ground, put a light over one of them. There's a shadow. There's no shadow. Do some math and figure out the sphericity of your flat floor.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So with that math, can you kind of work out how high the sun is?
I don't think the sun is a physical object. I don't think it's triangulatable. Is that the word? Did I say that right? Triangle. I can't say that word today, but I'll show you why, how I think it works. So I think that the actual sun is in or above our firmament, okay? And that we see a projected image of the sun. So let me show you. So I took my room here and I put a blue sheet dividing the room in half, and I put a light 10 feet on the other side here. So there's a flashlight. It actually has a square lens, but it looks round. Interesting how things always look round in the distance, right? And so I'm here, and my wife is aside. I say, where do you see the sun? And she goes, I see it right here. So if I quickly drew a little X right there on that sheet, she sees the sun over there at the same time as I see it there. So if we tried to triangulate the sun, it's not going to work because everybody has a personal relationship with the sun.
That makes sense because then it means that the sun can be stretched further at the southern points.
Yes. And by the way, the motions of the lights in the sky do not dictate the physical measurements of the floor, right?
Yeah.
So
you don't think it's hotter at the point of the sun? The temperature is being put into the
Why does it get colder the higher you get? Right? Why does it get colder? What? And then they tell us that the center of the Earth, they tell us the center of the Earth is hotter than the sun, right? So you know what thermal conductivity is, right? Anything you've got solid, the heat will go through it. So how come it's not friggin' hot at the bottom of the ocean? How come we don't feel the heat coming out of the ground all the time? Because the sun, right? But we have the sun 93 million miles away with a vacuum. How does the heat transfer? Check this out. I got a cup of tea in my Yeti cup right here. It's got a 1/4 inch of a vacuum between the inner wall and the outer wall. My tea's going to stay hot for 2 days. But the sun, 93 million miles away, can heat us up, right? So again, looking at the sky means nothing. It doesn't mean it can tell us some things about the Earth, but it doesn't prove anything. Let me ask you a question. I own this land here. You're an architect, okay? And I say, I want to build an amusement park here. Okay. I want to build an amusement park like this. Okay. If you came here and started measuring the stars to figure out how you're going to lay out the land, I'm going to look at you like you're freaking crazy. Okay.
Yeah.
But that's what globers like to do. They like to measure the sky to figure out the shape of the ground.
Yeah. Fair enough. And that's what I heard you say actually earlier. You said that, and that's what my friends say. I say, I don't believe that without the intervention of NASA, we would ever come to the conclusion of having the beliefs we have. And then they say, but what's round in the sky? Well, it just gives the impression that we must be round. And I think, well, yeah, that doesn't though. Because unless you're looking at what you're stood on, it doesn't.
Well, how about this? This is the sun. Is it a sun or moon? I'm not going to tell you. Is it rising or setting? Well, you can't tell if it's rising or setting. Is it the sun or the moon? What would you say?
I would say the moon.
Okay. And is it spherical?
Yeah.
Okay. So I just gave you what NASA gives you and the world gives you is false binaries. I'm going to slide this forward. It's a train. And the lights aren't even spherical. They're blue lights, red lights, square lights, rectangular lights. Okay? But in the distance, this is how our eyes work. Everything looks spherical. Now, I think the moon is spherical. But the moon, they tell us, is a rock in space that controls women's menstrual cycles. What? Okay? Right? How is that? What is going on with that?
So does a woman have a cycle 13 times in a year?
Yes. And when women are left in nature, they sync up with the moon. The moon cycle is the exact cycle of a women's menstrual cycle. Weird. I think, this is me speaking, nobody else, that the moon is responsible for the delivery and removal of souls in this soul system created by the creator. The creator created this realm for souls to have experience, and souls are all parts of the creator. That's what I think this is. NASA likes talking about the soul lure system because they're trying to steer your soul away. They're trying to steal your soul. And if you are willingly, giving up your rights, your soul, if you will, that's up to you. Because
I know a lot of people who are religious who just believe that the religion is mostly correct, but the creation stories aren't correct and the Big Bang is correct. And I think, bro, you can't be both. I think that the Bible even mentions 200 times that the earth is fixed and stationary. And I think in every religious text, this whole flat earth thing agrees with the religious text versus...
So on my app, you can find my app at flatearthdave.com. It's a $3 app. There's an $11 a year subscription, which is optional if you want to just be involved with the social media part of it. But in my app, the one-time price of $3, if you hit the biblical button, right? Biblical button right here. There's a whole bunch of biblical sections. Awesome stuff in here. I encourage you to watch the first one. This is Marty Leeds. He does a biblical church every Sunday. It's awesome. Flat Earth. He swears a lot, so just be warned. He's a swearing preacher. But this section right here, Biblical Cosmology Remastered, mind-blowing if you take the time and watch it. But there's the 200 proofs in here. This is the 24/7 channel. And this is a homeschooling, these guys that teach homeschooling from a biblical perspective. It's right in there.
Oh, very interesting.
Yeah.
Well, bro, I got a question for you, actually. And I asked this to a pilot, and they got quite irate at me. I said, how does GPS work? Yeah, because I actually said that GPS, well, he got irate because I said GPS, you don't need to know the curvature of an Earth to make GPS work. But anyway, how does GPS work? This is one of the questions.
Yeah, so GPS is, as I'm searching here, where'd it go? Is the ground positioning system, right? It's all done on triangulation from ground-based towers. Now, there may be some airborne things that they use, but you know how you have a dead spot for certain things, phone or whatever, and it's always the same dead spot? Well, if satellites are moving all over the place, why does the dead spot stay exactly where it is? Okay? It's because it's ground-based. When I was a kid, we had, it was called the Loran system, and it was basically signals that come out of these towers and give you grids, and you look at the numbers on a chart and figure out where you are. But then all of a sudden they just put a graphic overlay over it and they said, oh, now it's satellites. It's the same exact signal, right? There is no GPS in the Southern Ocean, right? When a plane flies out in the middle of the ocean, there's no GPS. It just goes to approximated positioning. When it goes from California in the United States here to Hawaii, after it's like 100, 200 miles offshore, it's gone. You don't see it until it shows up near Hawaii. There's no GPS over the Amazon jungle, right? There's no GPS. There's all different places where GPS does not work. So how does it work is the question, right?
Yeah.
So I was on a plane the other day, and I'm listening to a live stream. I'm commenting, I'm uploading videos, I'm emailing friends, I'm text messaging, and I have my airplane mode on because I'm connected to their Wi-Fi. That's awesome, right? Awesome. So this plane here has a ton of power to run the equipment to transmit the signal, right?
Yep.
And it could be serviced on a daily basis if anything goes wrong, correct?
Correct. Yep.
It's about 5 miles above the ground. All right. So as it flies, it's connecting from tower to tower to tower. That's all it's doing. So this is literally just a flying cell phone tower. That's all it is.
Fine, right.
It's a flying, moving cell phone tower. It has power. These need power. It needs to be in range. Well, if this thing was 5 miles high, it would have a lot of range. The higher a tower, the more range it has. So these are awesome 5 mile high towers.
That actually proves the point, bro. That
Hold on. Let me finish it up. So every time I put the phone down and I put it back up, it says, stay in touch, letting your others know that you're available via satellite. Use messages via satellite, right? This is called brainwashing bullshit, okay? Right? Right? So they want me to believe. Now, this isn't the scale. They say that these satellites are 350 miles above us. And now, if one was directly above that plane, it would be 350 miles. But if it was off to the side, it would be 400, 500, 600 miles away. Okay? So they want me to believe that they're taking my phone, right? So here's the airplane. This is still not to scale.
Yeah.
And they're beaming my signal up to this tin can that's falling around the spiraling, corkscrewing Earth in space that doesn't have a power system up here. And then it's transmitting it back down past the airplane to a tower. That's the official story.
That doesn't make sense, bro. And the signal dead spot that you just said, that... Yeah, bro, back at my mum's house, there was a place I only got signal in the very corner of my room, and that never changed.
Yeah, well,
so even when things are going 17,500 miles above my head, nothing ever changed. It was always only signal in the corner. Why is that?
Because, now NASA launches satellites on balloons. There's tens of thousands of these things on balloons. NASA uses more helium than the rest of the world combined.
I saw that.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Right? Now, I don't believe that these things are even sending signals around. I think they're doing other stuff, maybe it's just surveillance or weather. They launch, they know what the weather is doing all the time. Did you know that worldwide, it's equally spaced across the world, they launch a weather balloon, the 950 to 1,000 weather balloons from 950 to 1,000 different locations, twice a day at the exact same time. These balloons are launched every day, twice a day. So 2,000 weather balloons are launched every day that monitor the wind currents and the temperatures and everything. And then they send all of that data, gets transmitted back, goes to a supercomputer, and that's where all the weather models come from.
Right.
That's where all of the airplane routes come from. All right, let's go to the next question.
Okay, how does the Coriolis effect work on flat Earth? The Coriolis effect explains why hurricanes spin clockwise in the southern hemisphere and counterclockwise in the northern.
Yeah. It explains that, but snipers don't use Coriolis, and airplanes, balloons, they go up and they come back down, right? We send a balloon up to 120,000 feet. The Earth is spinning at 1,000 miles an hour. It should be 3,000 or 4,000 miles out into the ocean, and out west, but it lands 80 miles east of where it took off, right? There was a world record sniper shot. It was like 4 miles. And the bullet was in the air for like 20 some odd seconds or something. I forget the number. But we contacted him. One of our guys, Jaron from Jaronism channel, contacted him. And I said, how did you calculate Coriolis? He said, we didn't calculate Coriolis. We calculate wind, temperature, drop, all sorts of stuff, but not Coriolis, right?
So
Coriolis,
this is not proven.
It's not only is it not proven, it's ridiculous, right? Because it would be different everywhere. Like, out here, it's moving 1,000 miles per hour. Here, it's moving 833 miles per hour. As you get closer to the center, it would be less. So how would somebody even calculate that? How come airplanes can fly from east to west or west to east basically at the same time, right? If I took off from the North Pole where I'm moving 0 miles per hour, I'm just pirouetting once every 24 hours, and I flew to the equator, and I wanted to land in Ecuador on a north-south oriented runway that's moving sideways at 1,000 miles an hour. How do I get that 1,000 miles an hour of speed to land sideways on a moving runway? Okay.
Right. Yeah. Well, they would say theory of relativity, right?
Because the whole theory of relativity, right? Like if you had needed an operation and you said, doctor, how are you going to do this? And he goes, well, the theory of kidney relativity, you're not going to feel very good. They have theories of nonsense. It's complete and total nonsense, right? In the app here, if you hit the question mark, which is the frequently asked questions button, then you hit the Coriolis button. There's tons of videos showing you the tricks they do at the equator, the nonsense. But this is how there is a Coriolis effect. There is. I'm not denying it. I'm just saying the official explanation is stupid, right? So the sun and the moon circle. I'll speed it up so you can see. The sun goes around once every 24 hours. It laps the moon every 28 days around. So the moon, as it gets farther and farther back, its phase is growing, getting bigger and bigger, right? And when it's 180 degrees across from the sun, it'll be a full moon, and then it'll start waning, right? So this outer yellow line right here is the Tropic of Capricorn, and the inner yellow line here is the Tropic of Cancer. So the sun moves in June 21st to the Tropic of Cancer. 6 months later, it's out here to the Tropic of Capricorn, and the sun and the moon are electromagnetic. Everything is electromagnetic, so they're leaving an electromagnetic wake. If you push your hand through a body of water, you're going to get counter-rotating vortices on either side, counter-rotating.
Yeah.
And so the electromagnetic wake of the sun and the moon create these counter-rotating vortices.
Fair enough. And also what I would say about these questions is even with that spinning counter either way, it wouldn't even prove that we'd ever be upside down on a sphere anyway. These are like talking points that me saying it doesn't prove the globe anyway. And I understand that. And I think what a lot of people get stuck on when I'm speaking to them is I'm just kind of saying some of this stuff doesn't make sense. I think there's lies. And then they think that the minute that they can prove a hole in anything I say, then it means automatically we're back all the way to the heliocentric model. And I just don't think that's the case. I just think what you guys are saying is that you don't know.
I don't know what the sun and moon are. Nobody does, right? Yeah. They claim, the heliocentric model claims that, it's a rock that came off of Earth. That's when we were hit by another planet. Like what? Mm-hmm. Turned into a sphere, a dusty, dirty rock that reflects light so bright that it casts our shadow on the ground. Show me a rock that reflects light so bright that it casts your shadow on the ground. Even when you're standing right next to it, not let alone a 250,000 miles away. I have to point out something else, though. The trolls love me. Their lives are dedicated to me. They're going to show up. They're going to say, I'm a grifter. I'm just trying to sell an app that uses globe data, all of this stuff. Don't buy my app. Go to my website. There's a thing that says the crash course. Watch those videos because YouTube will never show you those videos and make up your own mind. Don't believe anything I say. But also the trolls that show up and they're commenting on every comment. Go to their channels. I call them the globe proof channels because there's zero content on them. Zero. Okay. So there you go.
All right. Why do objects disappear bottom first over the horizon?
Hey everybody, quick message that I'd like to share with all of you. Our lives are filled with toxins in our air, food, and even in the information we're taught. Avoiding them all is impossible, but helping your body detox doesn't have to be complicated. That's where Masterpiece comes in. Just 5 drops under your tongue twice a day, and that's it. Super easy, super simple, and it doesn't even taste bad. I've tried countless supplements, and while generally I'm pretty healthy, I didn't really feel much of an effect. But with Masterpiece, it delivered noticeable benefits. Check out the podcast I did with Terry from Masterpiece, linked below this video, or you can find links directly to Masterpiece on my website, flatearthdave.com, or in the shopping section on the app. The key to health is to detoxify. Now back to the show.
Why do objects disappear bottom first over the horizon?
Okay, so what is the horizon, right? In the globe, it's supposed to be a physical curve, but when you talk to globers, they say, well, the horizon, you can't see the horizon because of refraction. So on their model that requires a physical horizon, there's refraction, right? This weird. It's weird. On a flat Earth,
you have to accept the theory of refraction. Is refraction a theory?
It's a theory. Yes, things will morph, things will wobble, right? But never once can you have somebody stand, like if you were standing behind your house.
Yeah.
And we're on a big open prairie, whatever. And
okay.
I'm on the other side of your house and I started walking away. At some point, refraction would make me come up above the house so you could see me.
Right, yeah, I don't believe that.
Okay.
That sounds like one of those new Michael Jackson concerts with the hologram.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I don't believe. Okay, so
no,
I got another one.
hold on. No. I want to answer the horizon because the horizon is my baby.
Okay.
If I could remember where I put this stuff, it would be fantastic. All right. So here is a coin being dragged across the table, setting from the bottom up versus a sunset. Okay. Now the Globers will say, well, the camera's below the table, right? It is. It is. So when you're standing at the edge of a calm ocean, you can think that horizon is always 6 feet below your eyes, that horizon, and it's just going to drop farther and farther. You can think that, but that's not the case. This line here, is that Earth curve or is that something else? Right?
Okay.
So here is, I'm in New York City. I'm looking straight up. It's noon. There's a 50-story building here, and the sun just goes away. Now it's, let's say, 1 o'clock. Is the sun just went over here.
Yeah.
Is the sun below the horizon or is it just beyond the building?
It's just beyond the building.
Absolutely, 100%. Makes sense. How could you see it? You can rise up in the air, float up in the air, or go backwards and get a better angle to see it, right?
Yeah.
So here's a perspective grid, which they rarely teach anymore. And here's a guy. So this line is his eye level. And we'll throw this mountain here. It says, say it's 3,000 feet above his eyes. Okay.
Okay.
Got the sun up here. The sun starts moving away. Is it below the horizon or is it beyond the mountain?
Beyond the mountain.
Absolutely. So if we go backwards, let's say we go backwards 25 miles, right? So now he can see the sun again. This line here, globe or flat, is 3,000 feet above his eye line, but it looks like it's at his eye level.
Yeah.
Right? Now the sun goes away. Did it go below the horizon or beyond the building? Beyond the mountain. Beyond the mountain.
Beyond the mountain,
right?
Yeah.
So now we'll throw the clouds in there. So the clouds represent the atmosphere, but even on a clear day, as we talked about before, clear, Mount Canada video, the clear air becomes opaque over distance. So these clouds look like they're getting lower, but you know from experience that they're not. They're just appearing to merge into that line. The sun just goes beyond that line again. Now, this line is worse than before. This line appears to be at eye level, but it's the top of the mountains, which are 3,000 feet above your head. And it's the 10, 15,000 feet of atmosphere also being compressed into that line. So that line is 10 to 15 to 20,000 feet above your eye line. And
but it looks like it's on the ground.
It looks like it's on the ground.
Yeah, that's crazy. It's crazy how this stuff.
And flat earther, Globers will come in here and go, flat earthers will never explain sunsets. They'll never explain it. But we've explained it to them again and again and again, but they can never acknowledge it because their globe goes poof.
That P1000 is changing the way I see things, bro.
Did you get one?
Nah, the videos I'm seeing, I keep sending them to people and I'm like, look, bro, this doesn't make any sense.
So check this out. The P1000, that's a Nikon P1000 super zoom camera, got discontinued.
Shut up.
Ask me why.
Why did it get discontinued?
Because Nikon got a contract to make a special camera for NASA.
Wow. Wouldn't you know?
Wouldn't you know? Wouldn't you know?
That's crazy, bro. Okay, well, yeah. Have you got, by chance, any of your Horizon videos that you could show just for my audience? Because this is one of the things that made me think you've got some points here. Even though I'm still a globe believer, just for the record.
You're not a stop lying. Stop lying. Okay, stop lying.
But you know what I want to do?
Have some testicular fortitude. Is that the word? It's early, and admit it. Admit.
All right, bro.
You know
I believe in the rational argument that you make, and I don't know what we're on, and I think that there's probably a pack of lies that have been fed to us from NASA.
Yeah.
Because when I type in actual pictures of Earth, it's all just a load of CGI. And I just think that is a sun moving away from us, bro. That's a sun moving away. And listen, I didn't want to have this opinion because I don't want to alienate my audience. But look, this is, I think that it makes a lot more sense than the fact that us being upside down on a globe. And I can't understand how it can hold an ocean to the globe. It can hold Stonehenge to the globe. It can hold pyramids upside down. But a helium balloon makes no sense, bro.
The fool on the hill sees the sun going down, but the eyes in his head see the world spinning round, right? You have to believe that the cameraman is falling over backwards faster than the speed of the sound, or you can believe that the sun is just moving away. Okay? So here, you guys can do this. This is my flat earth kitchen. Okay? Kitchen counter here.
Yep.
I got this line here, which is the path of the sun. Excuse me. Excuse me. I get a quick drink. And I got some mountains here. They could be clouds, whatever you want, but this line is above the clouds.
Right. Okay.
So here we go. And I have a celestial point of view. The camera is at the height of the sun. So you can see that the sun is traveling in a straight level line. It never goes below this. Now, at the same time, on the other end of the counter, I have a terrestrial camera, a camera on the counter that's looking up at this, and we're going to watch that from the other point of view. So I just showed you this is a straight level line.
Yeah.
Now, from a terrestrial point of view, is this line look level?
No, it doesn't.
This is your horizon. What's going on
Perspective,
here? The sun is disappearing from the bottom up. And when I zoom in on this, if I showed you the zoom in first, look at this line. This line's level. You'd like, get out of here. Okay? This line looks like it's going down, almost straight down. Right? Now compare it to a real sunset. What is the sun going beyond? What is that, the Earth curve? Or is that just the atmospheric deck of opacity?
Right. Okay.
It's look, this is going beyond the horizon, your horizontal eye zone.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Right. And now I'm going to show you another one that's going to blow your mind. All right. So on a super clear day, this is like super clear, super cold. I put my drone up and I'm filming the sun. And if the earth is spinning, the sun should go down, 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 and it should just keep on going. Right. But it didn't. Yep. It went down, 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 and then it stopped, and it sat here for 10 minutes. Now, my friends are at the beach over here. They saw the sunset from the bottom up 10 minutes earlier. I'm still looking at it.
Wow.
And what's it doing? It's getting farther and farther away where its light is being attenuated into the atmos. What the hell just happened?
That's crazy, bro.
Back and forth here, back and forth, right? So when I showed this, the Globers went crazy. Photoshop. Oh, I wish I was that good at Photoshop. Okay. Right.
So you took this, bro.
Oh, I did. Then I did it again. Then I did it again. Then I live streamed it. Okay.
Okay.
But, and I've never seen the sunset like that. Have you ever put a 4K camera up in a super cold, freezing, super clear day and filmed the sun while while you're freezing your ass off, and then zoomed in on it? No, you haven't. That's why you've never seen it. Okay. So, and basically that's just showing you the attenuation, the false horizon. This isn't the horizon. It looks like the horizon because that's how our eyes work. But in the app, there's a button which I call more resources, which is the web button. If you long press on any button, by the way, it tells you what it does. So for people like, I don't know what the buttons mean, just long press on the button. If you go to that and you scroll down to the bottom, here is my sun fade out playlist. There's a whole bunch of videos in there.
Oh, wow. I was on the back of a boat, and this has had me questioning. It was about 2 months ago. The only way, I think of this, the Earth, I believe, is 4,500 kilometers wide or miles, and the variance of me tilting towards the sun should be 0.0000001%. The only way my hand can get twice as big is if I come twice as close. We should never see any variation in the size of the sun. The mere distance that I could see it being really tiny at some points and bigger at others shows by design they're lying, because they say we're just close enough that we don't burn up and we're not so far away that we freeze. Okay, then how am I getting closer and the sun changing size? I should burn up or freeze. Make it make sense.
Yeah. So let me quickly explain seasons. I think that was one of your questions, or if it's not, it's going to be. Where two people are outside and it's freezing cold, and somebody brings a heat lamp and holds it 15 feet, 10 feet over this person. So this person sees the sun directly above them and they're warm.
Yep.
This person sees the sun low in the sky. he's cold.
Makes
so
sense.
the guy brings the light, the heat lamp over to this person, keeping it at the exact same height, and it gets higher and higher for him and lower for this person. Summer, winter.
Okay, perfect. So
Summer.
that explains the time zones.
Yeah. That explains the seasons. The time zones are easy. And so that's just seasons. That's just seasons. All right. So that's that. So here on a globe Earth, we have 93 million mile away sun early in the day. It's cold.
Yep.
93 million mile away sun in the afternoon. It's warmer.
That doesn't make any sense. Yeah, bro.
93 million miles away in the evening, it's colder. Right? On a flat Earth, we have a very local sun. Farther away in the morning, it's colder. Closer in the afternoon, it's warmer. Farther in the evening, it's colder. Just like I showed you. Okay?
Yeah, because why would the variation change it much if it was already just blaring on us?
It gets worse. It gets way worse. So this is the path of the sun across the Tropic of Cancer on June 21st. Here it is on December 21st. And on a flat Earth, it circles here on June. Well, we're in the inner north, and the sun will always be close to us, heating us up.
Right.
Okay. Now, think about this. At nighttime, the Earth cools. Let's just throw some flat numbers at this. Let's say the Earth cools 10 points every night.
Yep.
Okay. In the north, in January, the sun will heat 8 points. But then it cools 10 points. So in February, it's colder.
Yep.
Now, February, the sun is getting a little closer, so the Earth will heat, let's say, 9 points, but cool 10 points. So it's only getting 1 point closer. March, let's say the sun heats 10 points and cools 10 points.
Equilibrium.
Right? Yeah. April, it heats 11 points and it cools 10 points. May, 12 points, cools 10 points. June, 13. July, August, it's heating 15 points. And it's only cooling 10 points, so it's getting hotter and hotter. Now in September, it's only heating 12 points and cooling 10. So we're still getting a little warmer, right? October is only heating 9 points or whatever the number is, right? And so now it's getting colder. It's how much thermal radiation you collect during the day versus the 10-point loss at night. So it gets warmer and warmer. People say, well, it should get colder right after June 21st. No, because we're still adding. We're still adding to the thermal radiation. That's how seasons work. Right.
Okay. Interesting, bro.
This is our winter. So we're here. You're here, right? The sun's far away, low in the sky. Right? Far away, low in the sky. In the summer, sun's higher, warmer, closer. Seasons only make sense on a flat Earth. Think about this. In our northern winter, they tell us the sun is 3.5 million miles farther than it is in our summer, but that's only like 2% of the distance. So, what difference does it make?
Yeah.
Cool story, bro. So think about this, though. Here in Connecticut, in June and July, when I see the sun appear on the horizon in the morning, I could immediately feel the heat. I could feel the heat. I can get a suntan. I can take my shirt off, right? That's at the lowest possible tilt possible, right? It couldn't be any more tilted away from direct. It's the most indirect light there could be. It should be arctically cold. In December at noon, when the sun is as high as it will be for the day, a much more direct angle than, if I'm trying to show it to you. So I can't even show it to you, right? If the sun is, it's higher in the sky, I can barely feel the heat on my face. I don't feel anything. It's far away. It's high. It's because it's far away. It's not because of the tilt angle. Once you wrap your mind around that, I see. Once you wrap your mind around the fact that it's not the tilt angle, it's the distance. Now, yes, when it's farther away, it is a lower angle to you and it's colder. But a sun 45 degrees off the horizon in June versus a sun 45 degrees off the horizon in December, different times of day, totally different heat right? So in June, I'd say at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, the sun's 45 degrees off. I'm still sweating my balls off, right? There's no way I could even put a sweatshirt on if you paid me. I'm dying. Yep. Okay. In December at noon, when the sun is 45 degrees off the horizon, I'm freezing. I got 3 coats on, hats, gloves, right?
It's further away.
No. It's at the same angle. That's the explanation for the seasons. And it's 3.5 million miles closer. Doesn't make a difference according to Globers. All right. Explain that. Why is it freezing at the exact same elevation angle off the horizon closer to me than it is in June at that exact same tilted angle farther away?
So 3.5 million miles closer, it's colder than it is when it was
and they tell us it's the tilt that matters. Every science show they teach in school, it's the tilt. And everyone buys it because the radiation spreads over a bigger area, right? 45 degrees off the horizon in June at 2 o'clock in the afternoon and 45 degrees off the horizon in December, let's say noon. One of them is freezing, one of them is hot. There's no helio nonsensical explanation.
All right, bro. Well, I've got the 10th question to ask, and then I want to ask why they would lie. But the 10th question is, how do gravity and the atmospheric pressure work on a flat Earth?
You want to come to my house for a barbecue? I need you to bring the propane, but I don't want you to bring a tank. I hate containers. Can you just bring the propane?
Yeah, that might be a problem.
Why?
Because I need a pressurized container to hold the propane.
So you need a container to hold the pressure?
Yeah.
So what was your original question?
Well, they would say that gravity can hold the pressure.
Gravity can hold the... So gravity can hold the air down.
That's what they say.
Is gravity stronger next to the Earth or stronger 100,000 feet above the Earth?
I think next to the Earth.
Well, that's what they say. I'll agree with you. That's what they say. So gravity is holding the air down, but the vacuum of space isn't strong enough to pull the air away. However, down here on Earth, when I drink through a straw, am I creating the vacuum of space or just a weak low pressure system?
A weak low pressure system.
But I can suck air and water up and away from Earth, close to Earth, with the weak low pressure system of my mouth and lungs, which can't even be compared to the negative Torr 17 vacuum of space, and it can't pull the air away.
True. You can suck liquid against a force that holds the pyramids against it.
Yeah. I could pull
That's interesting, bro.
Water and air up and away from Earth, right? And the whole gravity holding the air down. If I had a box, the lucite box with air in it, and I'm in a room that has no air in it, and I took the top off the box, now gravity should hold the air in that box, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't happen. It will violently fill their space instantly at any altitude.
Okay. So what do you think holds us in then?
So we live in this dynamic system where the sun and the moon are the anode and the cathode, the ground, the salt water carries the current, and it's basically just a big battery. Everything is electrostatic on Earth. Everything is electrostatic. That's a fact. It's not a theory, right? And then there's buoyancy and density, right? This blimp is lighter than the air. This water is less dense than the water, and this submarine is more dense than the water. So everything sorts out buoyancy and density. But why don't things go sideways or up? Why do they go down? What causes things to go down? Now, there's a lot of people say, "Oh, you don't need anything to make it go down. It's just the way they go." Well, there's a testable, measurable flow of electricity coming from the sky to the ground. The ground has a negative charge to it, testable, measurable negative charge, and the sky has a positive charge, right? So
what, that's facts, yeah?
That's a fact, okay. Right? So you have this downward flow of electricity. Okay. You have it, and it's harvestable too if you look into the old world and everything else.
Ether, is that what that is?
Well, that's a whole nother topic. So we got some leftover helium balloons here. And we tied it. We have this little button just tied to the end of this wire. This wire goes to a Van de Graaff generator. And we're going to add a positive charge, a greater positive charge to this. So anything in the air has a positive charge. So when we add the positive charge, did we make it heavier, or did we just make it more attracted to the negative charged Earth? Positive and negative charge. We discharge it, and it goes up, right? And now we could do the opposite. We can take this tinfoil, put a negative charge in it, it goes up. We turn it off, we turn it down, turn it back on, it goes up, stays up. Okay? So we have we're manipulating up and down with electrostatics. This is from MIT. They call it the silent drone. It's got no moving parts, and it flies just by changing its electrostatic charge.
Wow, that's fascinating.
Right. So are we defying gravity, or are we defying electrostatics?
That's interesting. I actually think that's why does everything point north? And why is there a star that's fixed above the place where all the places point?
That's another thing. Another question, right? So electrostatics can be manipulated. They can be tested. They can be measured. The globalists say, they don't deny the electrostatic force. They say the electrostatic force is 10 to the 36 power stronger than gravity.
Okay.
Do you know what 10 to the 36 is?
No.
Okay. There's 10 with 36 zeros. Okay. 36 zeros, right? You've been watching my stuff. You know how big a trillion is?
It's crazy. Can't get my head around it.
Yeah. 1 trillion seconds is 31,000 years. That's 12 zeros, right? So if we times that times 1,000 and times that times 1,000 and times that times 1,000, we're halfway to 10 to the 36. Okay? You can't fathom what that number is. So basically they're telling you gravity is nothing.
Right, okay.
Because electrostatics is real. I just manipulated it. It's 10 to the 36 power strong. So that's like saying, get the biggest, this isn't even a good comparison, the biggest land moving machine ever, just the biggest construction machine of all kind, and compare it to the power of a flea. Okay? That's not even a fair comparison of 10 to the 36 to gravity. Okay?
So they're basically saying that gravity wanes in comparison to the strength of electromagnetic.
Gravity is non-existent. And then when you get to gravity, which one are you talking about? Newtonian or Einsteinian? Because they keep changing their minds. You know?
And one's a push and one's a pull, is it?
Well, right? One mass attracts mass. They got rid of that. Now they say it's the bending and warping of space-time. Do you know what that is?
Do you know what? I think it's all just BS.
It is all BS. Stuff. That's all it is. It's BS. It's like, well, I don't have a degree. Where's your degree, right? If I wrote the book of bullshit, okay, this thick, and I gave it to you and you studied it, and I tested you and you got 100, I'll give you a diploma. You are now certified in BS. And when you're talking to your friends about BS, if they question you, you go, where's your diploma? Where's your diploma? I'm credited. You're not.
Yeah, do you ever watch the TV show Recess?
Recess? No.
It was like Randall was the class snitch. So if you just indoctrinate yourself in everything that they give you, you get to be the best of the slaves.
Yeah.
And that's what it is.
Wait, and think about school. If you challenge what's in the books, do you get an A? Or if you memorize and regurgitate without question, do you get the A?
Memorize it all, brother.
Yeah, it's all memorization and regurgitation. Education is indoctrination. That's all it is. Right?
Yeah.
It's memorization and regurgitation.
I missed a question, one that's a really good one, which I actually want to know the answer, because I believe in your tale of events. I want to know, how does the moon phases work? How do the shapes? And can I just say before you answer, this is what I believe the moon to be. I think that if you believe in the Big Bang Theory, then it's almost more what it says on your cup to believe that the sun would be the identical shape of the moon during an eclipse. Like, not only have the odds that we came from something from nothing, and then we ended up being, just so happens we've got this random ball that goes around us that every year or so blocks out the sun as if it's a jigsaw piece. It's more like everything has an equal and opposite force, and the moon is the equal and opposite.
Right. If the question is the moon a sphere? Right.
The question is how do the phases work? Right. On a flat
Earth? I'll get into that. But first is you mentioned eclipses. The chance that the sun is 400 times bigger than the moon and 400 times farther, therefore they look like they're the same size, or maybe they're just the same size, right? And the chances of them lining up perfectly once is it's ridiculously almost impossible. But they could do it again and again and again, and then every 18 years, the whole cycle of eclipses happens again. It repeats. All the eclipses repeat every 18 years. Okay? That sounds like the workings of a clock, not of a random gravitational, where we can't even figure out the three-body problem. Are these spheres? How big is this? How big is that sphere?
Size of a basketball, maybe?
Okay. It's not about the size of a tennis ball, and it's a half a sphere. How about this one? Is that one the same size?
It looks like the same size, yeah.
All right. Is it a sphere?
Yeah.
No, it's flat.
Interesting.
How about that one?
Okay.
Is that one a sphere?
Yeah.
Okay. It's not. It's concave.
Okay.
Is that one a sphere?
Appears so.
It appears so.
Yeah.
Would you bet your life on it?
No, I wouldn't at this point.
Well, it is a sphere. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So they tell us that the moon is reflecting sunlight. And that's ridiculous because, the brightness of the moon is ridiculous. Let me make this so I can't make it bigger. So you see this phase moon here as it moves farther away. I think that the sun is powering the moon. I think the energy, the electricity from the sun is making the moon fluoresce.
Okay.
There is a connection. And so that's how I explain the phases, because they work perfectly that way. And
so do you believe that the sun is leading the moon and they're not equal and opposite, that they're different functions?
Well, they're totally different functions. I mean, the sun controls men's cycles. The moon controls women's cycles.
How does the sun control men's cycles?
Well, it's more connected. It's masculine, and it's connected to our cycles. Imagine the world without a sun. You can't even fathom it. The sun gives us life. You look at the sun, you can equate it to most religious leaders like Jesus. It gives us our light, helps us see, it feeds us. It walks on the water. Like if you and I were watching a sunset and we're 50 feet apart, you're going to see the sun walking on the water, meeting your feet at the edge of the water. I'm going to see it walking on the water, meeting my feet. I look over yours. I don't see yours. You don't see mine. So you could say we have a personal relationship with the sun.
Yeah, I like that. I like what you said there.
And the sun dies on the 21st of December and then rises 3 days later, is reborn.
What do you mean by that?
Well, the sun goes out to the Tropic of Capricorn.
Yeah.
On the June 21st, it dies for 3 days, and then it turns around and comes back. Kind of sounds like it gets resurrected on the 25th.
Right. Interesting. Yeah, I did not know that.
Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot.
The thing I was going to ask as well, I've never done this test. I'll ask you about why would they lie to end it up, but I just want to say this. The last thing is, apparently when you check the temperature of moonlight versus in the shadows of moonlight, it's cooler, as if it's giving a refrigerating light. Is that correct?
Right. That is correct. However, there's 1 million videos online about it, and 950,000 of them are done incorrectly, giving you a false positive. But yes, it is true. You have to be careful, because people will put a piece of cardboard over the ground, and then they'll show the moonlight. The cardboard's insulating the ground. Okay. So but there are ways to do it where it could be, it's like 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 degrees, difference right next to each other.
Wow.
It's amazing.
Crazy.
And then, the Globers came out, that's impossible. And then meanwhile later, a non-Flat Earth channel called Cody's Action Lab comes out talking about a cold laser where you can freeze things with a laser. Okay. So yes, there is cold light. Yeah. So
you can actually do you can thermically chill things. It's crazy. I only found out this when I was looking at these tests.
On the app right here, my favorite button, Why the Lie? Great videos there. Great videos.
We can get that on the App Store, on the Apple App Store?
This is on the Apple App Store and on the Google Play Store, but be careful in Google Play. There's some knockoff versions by Globers out there trying to take you down a gatekeeping hallway. Just go to flatearthdave.com, click the banner there, click your App Store, download it. It's amazing. There's
wicked.
There's
That's
all sorts
cool.
of stuff.
I'm going to get the app myself.
Right. Right now, the Friend Finder is under construction, but you click the Friend Finder, and all of a sudden, these are all going to be orange dots. Normally, they're blue dots, but these are all the people around me, right? And
I see a lot of people waking up recently.
Dude, it's crazy. There's so many people waking up from you,
Really?
your audience, and everyone else.
Yeah.
So there's all sorts of stuff on here. There's a dating app on here because you want to be like-minded people. You can find other people. There's a meetup maker. There's all sorts of stuff. And we also have a referral program. Check this out. Right here, the middle button here will bring you to this page. You'll have a random referral number. Change it to whatever you want. And then when you talk flat earth with somebody and you show them the app, they're going to say, where do I get the app? Say, hey, use my referral code. Because when you put it in, you'll get a point. Those points you can use towards your subscription, but you also earn Dome cryptocurrency. And from now until Christmas, you get 1.5 million Dome, which is worth about $5. Not a bad deal for a $3 app,
great deal.
right? Yeah.
Yeah. Get the crypto.
Yeah, you get the crypto, and there's a lot to it. You can learn about that at domeshot.io, or just check out my website, flatearthdave.com, and get the app. And just, the idea here, my mission, people like, you're going to see the word grifter a million times. I'm not a grifter. The thing that brings me the most joy is seeing somebody wake up to their true potential, right? And so your question to why the lie, that's why the lie. The globalists, they want to keep us clinging to our ball, right? Because the ball is limitation, right? The ball is total control over your mind. Because if you live on a ball, you live in a world of lack. You live in a world where you could be hit by an asteroid. You're running out of fuel. You're overpopulated. There's nothing else to discover. You're separated from the creator. You're in an expanding universe that is expanding. What is space expanding into at 1 billion miles per minute? Okay, space is expanding into what? They tell us it's expanding like 1 billion miles a minute, right? Which is ridiculous. It makes absolutely no sense whatsoever, right? And so they want you living in that world of fear. That's the only thing, right? We are souls in a soul system, right? And our souls are untouchable and are immortal. That's what I believe. Okay. And your soul can't operate in a state of fear. It can only operate perfectly in a state of unconditional love. And that's what this world is. But there are some lost souls, some evil ones that are trying to keep you living in fear. False evidence appearing real, FEAR, right? And they keep you there with the news, which is northeast, west, south, steering your mind into fear. And, they want you to believe that, oh my God, Putin and North Korea and Russia and, we're going to have nuclear war. What if I told you nuclear bombs weren't real?
Bro, do you know what I find interesting? I find it interesting that we were in a nuclear race with Germany from 1941 until May the 7th, 1946, when they surrendered. And then we dropped the nuke within 45 days or 60 days of that. So you're trying to tell me the most technologically advanced army to ever exist, and no one even contests that, they couldn't come up with a nuke. And the minute they dropped out the race, we came up with it. That's some circumstance. And there's no nuclear fallout in Hiroshima or Nagasaki. Make that make sense.
Right. And yeah, none. 3 days later, the sandwich shops were open, selling flowers on the street. Everyone's back to work. On my website, flatearthdave.com, scroll down, you'll see a big nuclear banner. Click that. That's Crow 777 Radio, 2 hours in the word Crow. The greatest educational podcast. Don't send your kids to college. Subscribe to Crow and listen to that, and your kid will be more prepared for this world than anything else. Listen to those. Don't believe, hey, Dave just said nukes are, the flat earth is crazy enough, but nukes aren't real. No, nukes are not as described. The bad news is they've got weapons worse than nukes right now. Okay. They got directed energy weapons that I'd rather them have nukes. All right. But their nukes are just a way to keep you in fear. And, my goal is to help people unplug from this ridiculous soul trap and live their fullest life. I mean, this place is absolutely amazing, and they're controlling us. It's interesting. All these countries are fighting all over everything, right?
Yeah.
But there's two things that they all agree on unconditionally. Nobody can explore Antarctica or the North Pole.
Yeah.
and everybody's got to get the jibby jab stuck in their arm, right?
Yeah.
What's that about?
And they all agree on the ISS.
Yeah, well, they all have their own now, and the whole. We didn't even get into the ISS on the app. There's an ISS button in the frequently asked question. Yeah. Just go watch some of the stuff there. The fakery, if you caught your partner cheating on you once, maybe you'd forgive them. Then they did it again. Maybe you'd forgive them. They did it 10 more times and 100 more times. Basically, you can say that they're just liars and they're full of crap, right? NASA, we've caught them. I can't even say. I don't even know how many times. It's too many times. It's just too many times. So people say, Dave, what difference does it make? I still have to go to work on Monday. What is flat Earth going to do? What is the shape of the Earth? How does it change my life? I still have to go to work on Monday. It totally changes your life because your thoughts create your reality. Your soul has incredible manifestation powers. Your soul is more physical than your physical body, right?
Yeah.
And you have the ability to create your reality. But if your reality is stuck on a ball, your thoughts are limited. So you can't even imagine what you could do because you're stuck in a paradigm. If you're playing on their ball field, you have to play by their ball field rules. And if you're using their fiat money, you have to play by the rules. So what has it done for me, right? What has Flat Earth done for my well-being? I'm more at peace because I know what this place is, right? I know what it isn't, especially, right? This construct is amazing. And I'm going to turn you guys on to a new not a new podcaster, but a guy who's been around for a little while. Absolutely amazing. The second thing is greater sense of freedom. I know that I'm free. I don't have to pay attention to the governments, right? You want to trigger people, tell them nuclear bombs aren't real. The earth is flat. All of our history is a lie. And that here in America, taxes are voluntary. Right? Anybody that wants to know about taxes being voluntary, email me. All right, and I'll connect you with some incredible information. They are voluntary, but if you volunteer to pay them, that's your deal, and you're a terrorist. If you pay taxes, you're a terrorist. Right? Greater sense of freedom and clearer connection to the Creator. Right? I essentially had no connection to the Creator before I discovered Flat Earth. The Creator, I didn't discover Flat Earth because of God or religion. I discovered God because of Flat Earth.
Right. Interesting. So you found Flat Earth and then you realized this is a creation by the
I had no choice. There's a verse in the Bible that basically says, once you see my creation, the earth, you no longer can deny my existence. That's why they're hiding Flat Earth. Because if everyone saw Flat Earth, everyone would know there's a creator, and then nobody would pay attention to their stupid rules that they call laws, right? Their stupid, things they couldn't make if they operated in God's world. They can only make laws that apply that go with God's law, which is basically don't interfere with anyone else's free will, right? And so they can't do that. But if they put you on a ball, they commoditize you, give you a birth certificate, give you fake money, right? They completely and totally control you. And then the thing is, they're not allowed to take away your free will, but if you give it away, they're allowed to take it, if you willingly give it. And that's what they're doing.
Oh, interesting, bro. And you know what? I can concur because since I stopped believing in all of the stuff that they were peddling, I feel more at peace. I feel 100% sure we are a creation. And I think in just knowing that, there's so much peace and equanimity. And I think you're 100% right. We are built on energy, and the vibrational energy that we have when we believe in all of the way that they perpetuate their events. I don't think it gives you equanimity. I think you feel anxious and uneasy.
And when you're in the flow, right? The biggest conspiracy in the world is that this construct is trying to give you everything that you think. So you got to be careful with your thoughts because those thoughts are coming, and the clues are thrown at you all the time. When you're in the flow, you see all of these clues. You see all of these coincidences. You see all of these things that are thrown in front of you. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
So as I mentioned at the beginning of the show, our good friend, terrible loss, Mark Zulu One, passed away last night. But in the last week, I've been seeing this guy in the homeschool section. Actually, I have a different version of the app right here. But in the homeschool section, the first block is a YouTube creator called Darius J. Wright. Right? I don't know if you've ever heard of him. Have you heard of Darius?
No.
Absolutely amazing. You can find his latest version. You may not know it. The Inspired podcast with Jean Nolan. He had him on recently. I encourage people to watch that. But that came to me at the perfect time to deal with the passing of Zulu, right? I am super sad for him, for his family, for himself, but not for him. I know that everyone says, oh, he's in a better place. You know, they always say that, right? And I was like, oh, okay, thanks. That's good, cool. Now I know it's the truth. Yeah. Now I know it's the truth. Like, I'm not sad for him at all. I'm sad for missing him. But, I know that we are eternal beings. So this podcast goes out to you, Mark.
Shout out, Mark.
I
will check out Darius as well. Podcast.
You got to check it out and watch his latest one from the Inspired podcast with John Nolan. Just go type in Inspired podcast and YouTube. It'll come right up. You'll know him when you see him. He's got great hair. Okay, slightly jealous.
Yeah, me too, bro.
and he's got a super deep voice, which is slightly jealous again because I've got this
nice
New York Jew sound.
Yeah, sick, bro. Well, I tell you what, I really appreciate this hour and a half, bro. I've learned a lot. And I think as well, those are the kind of questions that when I'm speaking to my friends, and it makes people very passionate. They passionately defend NASA. And I think that those are the questions that they would have wanted me to ask too. So I think a lot of people watching this now are going to be thinking, maybe Dave is right. And subsequently, I think James might have changed his mind now too. So, hey, I'm on your team, I think, bro.
Yeah, the whole NASA thing, I mean, it's so stupid when you look at it. I mean, we could do an hour and a half easy just on the ISS. The internet, I call it the International Fake Station, right? There's nothing up there. There's nothing up there.
I agree.
Yeah.
I think it's nonsense. We'll have to get together again soon, bro. I think that's amazing.
All right.
You're the interesting person I've spoken to. I really, really appreciate you jumping on.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me.
I really appreciate people who... because obviously I'm teasing the idea of looking at it now, but you didn't care. You come out no matter the fact that people were attacking.
Ready? I got a guy in the other room. He's walking into your room now. He's got a gun pointed at your head. Is the Earth flat or a globe? 3, 2, 1. There you go.
I don't want to go to hell, so I'm not going to follow.
Most people die. Most people die because they can't answer. But you did it.
The thing is, I'm not going to follow I need to go to heaven, so I don't want to follow the Satanists.
Yeah. Well, once you see it, you can't unsee it. The problem is they've done such a good job brainwashing us into not even looking. Right? Yeah, people refuse to look. Like I was doing a conspiracy podcast. I refused to look at flat Earth because it's too stupid. Right? That's what we were programmed into believing. And it's important because it is the most important lie. Well, how could you say that, Dave? There's child trafficking, there's starvation, there's war. All of that is founded on the globe lie. Unplug yourself from the globe, all of that goes away. We don't need to take over governments. We need to ignore the governments, right? We need to
that's the foundational lie.
Yeah,
what we stand on, the foundation of everything.
Right. And people will fight to protect the globe. And then you ask them, hey, what's the circumference of the globe? How fast is it moving? What's the distance to the sun? How do they figure out the distance of the sun? What's the diameter? They don't know any of those things, right? What's the brightness? What's the albedo of the moon? What's the inverse square law of light? They don't know any of these things. We know their model. That's why we're flat earthers.
Yeah, so weird, bro. But amazing. Thanks a lot for the show, bro.
All right, dude.
Thanks a lot for your time. I hope you have a great day, bro. Over and out.
All right. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Take care, bro. God bless.